So the 12th Imam, is he your favorite Imam, Pat, out of all the Imams?
Well, I really like the 8th, but I think,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty close. But I think I give the edge to the 12th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The 12th is kind of my favorite, but then it seems to me, if I'm reading it right, that it kind of ends with him saying things like,
off with their heads.
And that kind of, global number ship kind of take over the world and behead the non-believers always kind of goes south. So I'm going to stick with the 11th Imam. But the 12th Imam apparently fell into a well, or was hidden in a well. And we've been talking to you about this for a while. And what got me on the 12th Imam is when Ahmadinejad was here years ago. And he ended his speech, which he does almost all of his speech. Oh, Allah, help me to have the courage to do the things I need to hasten the return of the promised one. And I was over at CNN, and all the journalists, they get up while he's saying these things, and they're all like talking again. So, what are you going to do to destroy the Republican Party? And I'm like, wait, guys, can you get back to the, destroying the Republican parties and getting somebody else elected just for a second here? Well, what is he saying? Who is this promised one he's so frequently speaking about? Oh, I don't know. It's just that religious claptrap. Okay, aren't you the same group of people that always take apart anybody who says Jesus? You don't really care who the promised one is here? And so we started looking into it, and it didn't take long before I started having a feeling that maybe if you compare the Hadith with the book of Revelation, you might see that, it looks like honestly, it looks like someone intentionally took the book of Revelation and said, okay, how can I really just spook everybody? I know. I'll make the good guy the bad guy and the bad guy the good guy. It is completely reversed. Now, yesterday, we saw a report and posted it on theblaze.com. It is somebody else that has been looking into this. People who know, hey, let's take people who say they believe in God seriously. CBN. And we have Erick Stackelbeck of CBN.org on with us. Eric, are you there?
I'm here, Glenn.
How long have you been looking into the return of the 12th Imam?
Glenn, I've been investigating this for about 5 years, and I have to say, this report yesterday, this video that I got a hold of from a source in Iran was astounding. This is proof of what the Iranian regime really believes. As you said, the liberals in the newsrooms at CNN, the New York Times, might not be able to wrap their heads around this, Glenn, but these people really believe this stuff, does the Iranian regime. They see, and they make clear in this video, Glenn, which was produced in conjunction with the office of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. This was produced by the Iranian regime, and what it does is it lays out a scenario. They see the current unrest in the Middle East as a clear divine signal that the Mahdi is about to emerge from that well and return. Iran is going to help usher in his return. He's going to slaughter all non-Muslims, and Iran will be ascendant. Islam will be ascendant. It sounds crazy, but they really believe this stuff, and they will make policy around these Islamic scriptures, Glenn.
Give me the gist of the video of. I know you just said that the Mahdi is near, et cetera, but the video is actually called "The Coming is Near."
Right.
Give me the gist of how what this means to the average person over in Iran. Have they ever seen anything like this before done by their state?
Glenn, I've interviewed former members of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps. This is the inner sanctum of the regime. This is the power brokers of the Iranian regime. This is drilled into them on a daily basis. This messianic ideology, the ideology of martyrdom, blowing yourself up, going to heaven. This is drilled into the average Iranian member of the military, the intelligence services there, and the average Iranian citizen. If you walk down the streets of Tehran, everywhere you look, there's posters and banners of the Mahdi, of former great imams and former great Islamic Shia leaders who've been martyred, in their words. So this culture of martyrdom, culture of the Mahdi, is instilled in the average Iranian from a young age. It starts in school, and it goes on and on as they advance on through the military. It's a way of life in Iran. This apocalyptic ideology is really a way of life there. And as I said, people here in the West just can't wrap their heads around that, but it's a very real thing. And this video lays it out, Glenn, better, or scarier, I should say, than I've ever seen it laid out. The Shia messianic ideology, it takes you through the ultimate goals, which are the destruction of Israel and the destruction of the West. And this video, Glenn, which was produced in conjunction with Ahmadinejad's office, as I said, it says that the hadiths, the Islamic scriptures, have predicted that Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is the man who will conquer Jerusalem before the return of the Mahdi. They really believe this, and they believe that this signal, Yemen, Egypt, Libya, everything that's going on, Saudi Arabia, is the signal that the time is really at hand. And I can tell you, I just interviewed the Vice Prime Minister of Israel, Moshe Yaalon. He's the second highest-ranking member of the Israeli government, Glenn. The Israelis are taking this video very seriously.
Eric, how do you respond to people? We always hear, oh, so what? So they believe in the 12th Imam. We don't buy into any of that nonsense. It's just religious superstition. How do you respond to people who just dismiss it?
There is no concept of mutually assured destruction with the Iranian regime. During the Cold War, look, the Soviets were atheistic. They were living for this world. They didn't want to die. The Iranians do not fear death. Look at the Iran-Iraq War during the 1980s, when the Iranian regime sent tens of thousands of little boys, little Iranian boys as young as 7 and 8 years old, to clear minefields. They were told, they actually had keys around their necks, guys, that were the keys to paradise, or so the Ayatollah Khomeini told them. Wow. A regime like this will think nothing. 70 million people in Iran. If they, say, nuke Tel Aviv for, in their eyes, the greater good of Islam, of course Iran or Israel would respond massively, kill, tens of millions of Iranians. But to the Iranian regime, they'll take that. They'll take that. They'll say, hey, look, we still have 30, 40 million people left. It's worth it. This is an irrational regime. In their eyes, what they're doing is very rational. They have a clear goal. But to us, it's very tough to understand, at least to some of us. The opinion makers in this country and the government elites in this country refuse to wrap their heads around this, and they insist that we can engage Iran when we've been rejected at every turn as we've tried to do that.
The thing that people have to understand is that Christians believe in the same story. Have you done enough of the reading of the Hadith to be able to be compared to show that it is?
Yeah.
Do you believe that at least it has the 12th Imam has all of the earmarks of being the Antichrist? Look, I'm not saying he is the Antichrist, but they have reversed the story where good is bad and bad is good, and Jesus is the bad guy. He comes back and says, no, Christians and Jews, you got it all wrong. I'm here to testify to the 12th Imam and Allah.
Glenn, Jesus, in this messianic ideology, Jesus is going to be the Mahdi's wingman, so to speak. He's going to return next to the Mahdi as the Mahdi's accomplice, his sidekick, and slaughter all the Christians and Jews. I've been studying this, Glenn, for 10 years. The day after 9/11, I was a sports writer in a former life. The day after 9/11, I went out and bought a copy of the Quran, and I bought the Hadiths, and I devoured them. I did what our government officials should have done, but didn't. I got to know the enemy. So I've been studying this for 10 years, and I can tell you, these hadiths, the Iranians in particular put real emphasis on these hadiths. And Glenn, as you've gone through on the show, the hadiths may be even more radical than the most radical passages in the Quran.
Okay, hang on just a second. I want to make sure that when when you say you read the Quran and you want to meet the enemy, I don't know what your opinion is, but I have friends who are Muslim, and I don't consider the enemy.
Absolutely.
Those who believe in the Hadith as written here, because this is like an addendum. This is these guys,
terrorists.
right? These guys who believe that the 12th Imam is coming and to cause chaos. Remember, not Ahmadinejad, but Khomeini, or Khomeini, back in the 1980s, he thought these guys were the enemy. He said these guys are so dangerous, he banned them. Because the people who believe in the 12th Imam the way Ahmadinejad believes, they believe that they must cause chaos. When he says, "Oh, Allah, help me hasten the return of the promised one," he means, as we understand in Christian scriptures, and as he understands in the Hadith, the world must be washed in blood for the 12th Imam and then Jesus to appear. Well, Christians say, no, thank you. Let's wait on that. Let's have future generations, maybe like our great-great-great-great-grandchildren who we don't really know, and so we can kind of say that we'd rather have them face it than us.
Right.
These guys want it.
Oh, they want it. They want it very badly, and they believe that. And first of all, let me say, I work in Washington, D.C. I cover the Middle East for a living. I have many Muslim colleagues, friends as well. I'm talking about the radical jihadist sect of Islam.
One of the things that was really, I think, fascinating about your report, Eric, was the CIA operative who had infiltrated the apparently the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. I mean, this guy would be in grave danger. Obviously, you disguised his voice and his features. But how did you find him?
You know, Reza Khalili, and that's a pseudonym, guys, for his safety. Through some mutual contacts in the past year, I came across Reza, and I met with him several times to verify his story, and I'll tell you, it measures up. And this is a guy who has incredible sources within the Iranian regime and in Tehran, so he is a foolproof source. One more thing, guys, I want to bring up about this video, Glenn, that I think you'll take an interest in. It says that the Muslim Brotherhood's rise in Egypt is a sign of the end, is a positive sign in the eyes of the Iranian regime and a sign of the end. I think that's one of the things in this video that has been kind of overlooked. The Iranian regime, people say, hey, look, can Iran work with the Brotherhood? Well, obviously they can if they see the rise of the Brotherhood in Egypt as a positive, great thing, a sign of the end, according to this video. And obviously they work with the Brotherhood in Gaza. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood's Palestinian branch. But I think that's an important point from this video that was kind of overlooked, the Brotherhood's role.
Let me ask you, Eric, you are working on a Christian broadcasting network, and you can talk about these things openly, and, that's why everybody was like, oh, well, we can just dismiss anything that they say. I think that there is a time when people working anywhere, not in media, just whatever you're doing, need to wake up to what's happening in the Middle East and see the difference between good versus evil, and see that Israel is being set up even in our own country, and no one is standing for Israel. No one. Is that a little frightening? I mean, you read both the Hadith and you read the Christian scripture. That's not a good thing to be standing against Israel, is it?
No, it's not, Glenn. And look, I have a book coming out May 2nd. It's called The Terrorist Next Door. One of the chapters is called First They Came for the Jews. Because in the radical Islamic mindset, there's an old saying, first the Saturday people, then the Sunday people. The Jews are the canary in the coal mine in this war. Israel is on the front lines. If Israel goes down, we all go down. People want to blame Israel for 9/11, for the Islamic terror onslaught against America. But how do you explain the period of jihad from the year 632, Glenn? Islam roared out of the Arabian Peninsula up until 1948, when Israel was reestablished as a nation. That's about 1,400 years when there was no Israel, at least officially. How do you explain the ways of jihad during that period? Was that the Jews' fault too?
I'm up against a break, so I've got to take a break. But quickly, do you have any sources, or is there any indication, because things are accelerating, any indication of how much time we have before an event that, or are they just playing it out? Do you get any sense that they have something planned?
I get a sense that Iran, this is building, Glenn, towards something very nasty. And talking to Israeli government officials on a frequent basis, they feel the same way. I think it's going to get very nasty very soon.
Well, you're a pick-me-up. The two of us definitely do not. It's like mixing the, see, Ghostbusters, it's like don't cross the streams. Eric and Glenn should never be at the same party because we'll blow
good safety tip.
It'll be like all of the cells inside your body turning inside out and exploding. Eric, God bless you, and keep up the good work, and let us know how we can help and just keep going, man. Just keep going.
Glenn. You too.
Thanks.
Take care.
God bless. Bye-bye. That's Erick Stackelbeck from cbn.org, and I want you to see this report. It is at theblaze.com right now. It's one of our lead stories, and it is terrifying for those with eyes and ears. Terrifying.